racism is power plus prejudice. People can be discriminatory, they can be biased, they can be prejudiced, but racism is something that is very unique and different because, folks like to say, well, everybody's racist. Everybody can be racist. I think there's a play called Avenue Q, and there's it's Muppets, and there's this little song that they have where they sing everybody's a little bit racist.
Hey, Kate Monster?
Yeah?
You're a monster, right?
Yeah.
And you know Tricky Monster, my neighbor, he's a monster.
Right.
So, are you two, like, related?
What? Princeton? I find that racist.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, I was just asking.
Well, it's a touchy subject. No, not all monsters are related. You should be much more careful when you're talking about the sensitive subject of race.
Yeah. Well, look who's talking.
What do you mean?
Well, you're the one who's always complaining because your students are always cursing.
Yeah, well, they get that from Ram.
You're a little bit racist.
Well, you're a little bit too.
I guess we're both a little bit racist.
Admitting it is not an easy thing to do.
But I guess it's true.
Between me and you, I think
Everyone's a little bit racist sometimes. Doesn't mean we go around committing hate crimes. Look around and you will find no one's really colorblind. Maybe it's a fact we all should face. Everyone makes judgments based on race.
And I get the point of that song, which is to say everybody has biases, everyone has prejudices, but the ability to exact oppression on a group of folks is something that is different, and that's how I understand racism to be. And so,
The Black community has always been a significant aspect of American history that is often overlooked. If anything is referenced, it doesn't go past the political contribution of the Civil Rights Movement or the African American first and industries after integration. Black Americans contribute so much more to the American culture than politics. African American fine arts are a direct representation of their attitudes amidst their struggles and their triumphs.
Say something. It's about time that black bodies are not killed and mutilated by people who don't love us or care for us. And black people all over this country need to stand up and say enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Come on, we moving. We're marching.
Slow it down. Slow it down. Spread it out.
KK, Shabella.
Spread out to the right.
Hold on.
Spread out to the right. Everybody can't be on the front line.
There you go. Much better. Yeah, where's Nick?
Slow down on the right side.
Come start some chanting.
You got a megaphone?
No.
Everybody say, I!
I!
I believe!
I believe!
I believe that we will win!
I believe that we will win!
I believe!
I believe!
I believe that we will win!
I believe that we will win!
You gotta walk, mother.
I
believe!
I believe!
I believe that we can win!
I believe that we can win!
I
I
believe!
believe!
I believe that we will win!
I believe that we will win!
I believe!
I think one of the primary goals of movements like Black Lives Matter is to raise an awareness about the oppression that black people experience in America. I think, in the aftermath of the Trayvon Martin killing, the Jordan Davis killing, the Eric Garner killing by law enforcement, or in Trayvon Martin's situation, a vigilante, people recognize the limited value that black lives have in American society. And so in order to raise a level of awareness, not just to make people upset, but to really provoke and bring about change in society and get lawmakers to consider the laws that impact the way communities of color are policed, people feel that there is really that there are a few ways to really capture folks' attention, and a lot of times that's through protest. You've also seen what I like to call rebellions or uprisings as opposed to riots, And you find that a lot in communities where there are high concentrations of poverty, high concentrations of low economic opportunity, and people are speaking out. Dr. King once said that rebellion is the voice of the unheard. And so for years, people have been demanding change. They've been demanding better conditions. They've been demanding to be policed differently, to be dealt with more equitably and more fairly. And society has not really taken that seriously. And sometimes people reach their breaking point and rebel and speak out in aggression and or violence. And not to say that the Black Lives Matter movement is a movement that promotes or encourages violence. I think those two things oftentimes intersect. But as a movement, as an organization, or a network of individuals organized a particular idea, I think the purpose is to raise an awareness, to put pressure on public officials to really consider and think about changes being made to the laws, particularly as it relates to the policing of Black communities, the way that Black bodies are treated either by law enforcement but also by other governmental agencies, the housing that is available, the quality of education that is available in Black schools. These are some of the things that are being lifted up by organizations like that, and that's why it's so important and so relevant that, you know, even we are so many years, generations, century past slavery, that we still have a lot of the residual effects impacting so many people in communities of color.
No justice! No justice! No peace! 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 Say I believe! I believe! I believe that we will win! 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 I believe that we must 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 win!
From the civil rights movement to modern day, a lot of progress has been made. There is still a lot of work to be done. Some methods have shifted to adapt to the personalities of new generations, but at the same time, many ways of approaching social change have stayed the same. We too are America.
I too sing America. I am the darker brother. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes, but I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Tomorrow, I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody'll dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. I too am America.
I would say look for a woman. I think, again, you know, we have these ideas about who our leaders should be. But I think about Patrisse Cullors or April Tometi, or the Opal Tometi, I'm sorry, or the other sisters that have been engaged in Black Lives Matter or other social justice movements, and creating space and opportunity and giving a platform to the brilliant voices that exist out there, but also to not be so caught up in the charisma of a single leader, but to be open to embracing the multiple voices that exist out there, and particularly of young people too. So my advice would be keep an open mind and fight against the notions of patriarchy and ageism.
The Harlem Renaissance was the first large-scale surge of Black poets. By the time the Civil Rights Movement rolled around, many Black poets utilized this written art form to express their political and social unrest. Aside from written poetry, spoken word began to develop in the 70s to use the principles of poetry and performance art to make their voices heard. Soon after, it developed into a competitive atmosphere where slam poetry began to thrive. Today, the art of spoken word and slam poetry is being revived by the upcoming generation. At the same time, they aren't neglecting classic written poetry either, as chapbooks, pamphlet-style books of poetry 20 to 50 pages long, are finding a new home in many young bookshelves. The themes seen in Black poetry have not actually changed from when it began. Black poets still write about their political and social unrest as well as their identity in the bigger picture.
Your past shouldn't determine your form of death. Why would my brothers get murdered? You show the pictures of him maybe smoking, showing gang-related activities, instead of him maybe holding his child, his diploma, smiling, even in his cap and gown. Or maybe you don't have that type of photo filter. My hands are up and I'm gunless. The only weapon I have on me is my tongue. And I'm afraid that one day it's going to get me killed. Shot, dead.
Have you ever met an earthquake? I'm talking an 11.5 on the Richter scale, one that has the power to destroy worlds and erase cultures, showing the world who's boss type of quake. One that has the power to make world leaders follow her like trembling aftershocks, because before any great man, there's an earthquake of a woman that paves the way for him. I was named after women who had the power and strength to make the earth tremble at the sounds of their voices, and every step they took could break the earth a little bit more. I imagine my name as a beautiful mountain built strong to withstand Mother Nature's most violent storms, made of pieces that refuse to shake in the face of adversity. With a beauty so potent its scent effuses to the farthest reaches of this earth, far beyond any impact imaginable. My name is of a caliber where black girls weep underneath weeping willows at the sight of fallen leaves, because somehow they see their brothers and their fathers and their uncles and their nephews and their unborn sons in those leaves, and have the audacity to believe that she and her mother and her sister and her aunt and her niece and her unborn daughter are safe from the same fate. A name built up in a struggle of sit down, sit up straight, not that straight, chin up, not that high. Don't make eye contact, look me in the eyes, stay quiet, speak up, stay quiet, speak up, stay quiet. Never anger anyone who has the power to decide your fate. You do not decide your own fate. A label that sometimes makes me feel the need to apologize as if it's an inconvenience. You are not an inconvenience. A few syllables representing a standard I may never live up to. My black was never seen as beautiful, but that doesn't stop the melanin from pigmenting my skin. My eyes never compared to chocolate or the Milky Way. My feet were never big enough to fill the steps I silently follow behind. My hips never wide enough to fit into my jeans, and my body never moved enough to the beat of African drums, and I'd never remind anyone of their mother or their sister or their daughter. My ancestry was the only beautiful thing about me, but my beauty couldn't be traced back far enough for it to be deeply rooted in me. My beauty was lost somewhere on a ship coming to a new land in the Middle Passage. It was stripped from me long before I was born, like a piece of coal put under pressure to be turned into a diamond, but instead it was Jim Crowed into dust. And now I realize that when people try to cut my name short, it's so that they can chop me up into bits and pieces that make me easier to swallow, make them more comfortable, because these complex and powerful names too often accompany complex and powerful people. They will try to break you down into your most simple elements to find out what you're made of, but you are not simple. You're an unstable element that after years has learned to control your broken. Yes, you're an 11.5 on the Richter scale, unfathomable magnificence birthed from struggle and melanin. Have you ever found yourself in a fight or flight situation? Because you've always been more Martin than Malcolm, and more Malcolm than Garvey, but hearing the schoolboy shout obscenities into a flood hallway made your blood boil, and your skin crawl, and your throat scratch, and your voice clench as you try to swallow years of bigotry against your skin. And a circle can never fill the entirety of a square without overstepping its boundaries. So here I am, young black girl trying to make sense of a decaying society, as I fight the duality of two worlds constantly clashing on my front doorstep. Choke your melanin down, make yourself smaller, speak truth less, and listen to bigotry more. And when words have found a way to shatter you into a million pieces, and adrenaline begins to taste like blood, and you find yourself tired of hiding behind broken pencils, crumpled sheets of paper, and poorly written metaphors, be bold, be outspoken, be strong, be independent, be beautiful, be kind. Put the bass back in your voice. Be the queen you were destined to be. Stand on your own 2 feet and speak up. Don't let anyone tell you to stay quiet. I will take back my name. It complements my smile of royalty. Take back your crown. It complements your smile of royalty. I will take back my name. I will take back my voice. It complements my smile of royalty beautifully.
Music has always been and always will be an integral part of the Black community. During times of trials and times of triumph, music has been the main form of self-expression. Each genre offers insights to the attitudes of the community during any given time period. Specifically, when looking through the lens of the civil rights era to modern day, two of the most popular genres are gospel and hip-hop. Gospel arises because of the church being one of the cornerstones of the Black community since the days of slavery, and as time goes on, it continues to be popular and even seeps into other genres, such as hip-hop. Hip-hop has become a popular genre in the Black community because it was birthed in the struggle. It has become one of the iconically Black genres, despite the growing diversity we see today. Hip-hop was formed to be the voice of the unheard, and from its creation till now, it has yet to disappoint in providing a source of self-expression. The themes seen in both of these genres have stayed the same. Gospel focuses on imperfections, being saved by God's grace, and being unashamed. Hip-hop adapts to the popular culture of the time, but overall has a general theme of making it through the struggle and achieving their wildest dreams against all adversity.
Anybody here get a great man? Come on, bitch. We gonna show you young folk. There you go. Yeah. That's when you can understand the words to the song. Sing it. Come on, Bishop.
All right, amen. Here we go, and 5, and 6, and 5, 6, 7, everybody say faith. Oh, faith. Say YPD. Say faith. Oh, faith. Say YPD. Say faith. Oh, faith. Say YPD. For the back, say faith. Oh, faith. Say YPD. No music. Say faith. On. Faith. Say YPD. Let me say faith. On. Faith. Say YPD. Keep going. Here we go. Say faith. Hey, on. Faith. Say YPD. Last time for the verse. Say faith. On. Faith. Everybody say YPD. Get fired up.
In His grace and mercy, I'm still standing. Now I'm standing in the presence of the Almighty with power and a testimony. And now I'm standing here today with one thing to say, Lord, I thank you. Yes, I thank you. Here I am. I'm still standing. Here I am.
Visual art, not being a performance art, has its own solid niche in the Black community. This form of self-expression is often seen as simply that, personal self-expression. However, paintings in art galleries or even homes of members of the Black community continue to express the important values of the community as well as the artist's distaste for aspects of society. Political statements made through visual art were seen all throughout the civil rights movement as political cartoons in magazines and newsletters like the Black Panther. As times progressed, the 80s and 90s yielded art that was more about Afrocentricity and reconnecting with your roots in the motherland. Now it has shifted to messages of self-love with trends such as My Black is Beautiful. We see that the Black community is really valuing Black love and showing the world what it means to be unapologetically Black. Whether you're a carefree Black girl or a negus, the message is clear. Keep your chin up so your crown doesn't fall.